I'd like to introduce to you a band that you know and love. Come to you like the sound of equipment being thrown from a moving van, the sound of dead cell phones and oil rigs, the sound of empty parking lots, school buses. They love to live and live to love. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesus Children of America, the White Stripes.
Hello. Come on in. The water's great. My name is Ryan Schaap, and this is the hardest podcast to podcast. The only podcast covering the White Stripes that we know of. And if you're out there, we'll find you. We are celebrating the White Stripes' entire musical catalog, one song at a time, one song per week. Not one, usually one guest per song, but we got two this week. They're both named Amanda. My lovely wife, Amanda Schultz, who is the assistant editorial producer on this podcast, and my sister, Amanda. Well, two people that have experienced a lot of White Stripes through me, or through me through osmosis. And we had a really, really special conversation about the song this week, Hotel Yorba. If I was to give my top three favorite, not best, but favorite White Stripes songs, it would probably be Hotel Yorba, Bone Broke, and Red Death at 6:14. So I love Hotel Yorba. It's a fun song. It's one of the most played White Stripes songs of all time. And it's just a classic. It's a fun-loving, great track. Hope you had a great holidays. Hope you enjoyed Candy Cane Children. That was a really a good episode. It was good. It wasn't great or fun, but it was good. My dear friend Mike Noble of the great band Hotel Yorba. Hotel Mira. Mike Noble from Hotel Mira was on for our Christmas episode. What seemingly will be our one and only Christmas episode based on the format that we do. But we had a great conversation, and he was over at my house on January 3rd as we watched a New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-view till about 4 o'clock in the morning. Those are the things that I do away from this podcast. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope you had a good holidays. Hope you had a safe and happy New Year doing whatever it is you do. I had a lot of downtime. We had a lot of projects around the house being, we purchased this place back in September, and all of a sudden when you got 2 weeks off work, now's the time to build IKEA countertops and clean and organize things. So that's in the rear view as reality sets in tomorrow. One fun thing, it's not launching yet, but I will say this. I will be launching a Patreon for this podcast. Whether it's the Hardest Pod to Pod at Patreon or Hardest Patreon to Patreon, there will be something coming very soon with bonus content, likely an episode a month, though we are going to start out hot out of the gate with a few a week. But that will be launching very soon, and you can find that on all our social media accounts. You can go to hardestpodtopod.com. The link will be there. Just a way to cover a bit more about Jack White, the White Stripes, Third Man projects. Unfortunately, but fortunately, who knows? It'll be behind the paywall. It'll help support this show, and it will help. It will help maintain the quality you come to expect here at the Hardest Pod to Pod. And signing up for the Patreon will keep the pesky, awful advertisers away. A listener of ours, Lucas, in the Instagram DMs. Instagram, Hardest Pod to Pod. We were talking about nobody knows how to talk to children, and how that was the kind of motto on, I'm going to butcher this because I don't have it in front of me, but it was like the White Stripes tartan merchandise that they had for sale during the Icky Thump tour across Canada, where they had like, I don't know if they sold the kilts, but it was like the scarves or the hat or that type of style. There was some item, because Lucas plays the bagpipes, that he said that if he ever came across one, that was something that he would plunk down a nice chunk of change for. And then asked if there was a White Stripes piece of memorabilia or merchandise that I would pony up cash for. And he asked me that earlier today, and I said I would mull it over. And a couple of things come to mind. I say like, accessible things, a couple $100. I really want to own the 7-inch single, the split single from Multi-Ball magazine that they released Handsprings on. There's a couple on Discogs that come with the actual zine, and it's like under $200 Canadian. So that's something I'd really like to have. It would probably live on the shelf behind me. I think that's really sick. I was at a record store here in Vancouver, and somebody clearly sold a White Stripes fan sold off some big ticket items, because behind the counter on the shelf was a copy of the Sub Pop record single for Party of Special Things to Do, and that was about $300 or so. And I'm like, I could do that. But if it came time to drop money on something with a price tag that needed a comma, I would say like an airline guitar, and that's probably like, I don't think I could find an original one in good shape for under $5,000 probably. So like maybe an Eastwood airline, and that would just become a piece of wall art. But yeah, one of those things. Come to think of it, considering how shitty concert tees are now and how shitty band shirts are, I'd love to just like name your price. If you were on if somebody has like shirts from like the White Blood Cells or Elephant tour that they just put in a bag and preserved, like 20 years later, those would be like the highest quality shirts ever compared to the bullshit they sell today. So yeah, Time Machine White Striped shirts is that's about all I need. As fun as it would be to have the triple phone on my desk, I'm sure that would cost way too much money. On that note, it is time for our call to action this week. I need you to hit pause on this podcast, go to your streaming platform of choice, go find White Blood Cells, go find Hotel Yorba, or maybe go find the single version that was recorded at the Hotel Yorba. Whatever you feel like listening to, hit pause here, go listen to Hotel Yorba so that it is fresh in your mind and as fresh as it. Go listen to Hotel Yorba so it's as fresh in your mind as it was when myself and the Amandas discussed Hotel Yorba. And remember, I say this every week, but there's an important reason why we listen to them on our streaming platform of choice. So that way, every week when a new episode of the Hardest Podcast to Podcast comes out, there is the correlation of streaming data that helps the Fat Cats, Third Man Records know that more and more people are listening, and more people are being driven to these streaming platforms by this podcast. It's a little thing that goes a long way. On that note, enough about me. On that note, let's talk to my wife and my sister, who confusingly share the same name. Our guests this week both have the same name, but very different connections to myself and this week's song. One is my loving dear sister, and the other one is my loving dear wife. They're both named Amanda. This is going to be confusing, so please take your time, as we will all be taking our time. Let's start with my sister, Amanda. Amanda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's my first day back at work after a week and a bit off over Christmas. So that's been a lot. I had a lot of emails to answer,
And in the back of your mind, while you were responding to those emails, you were stressing about this podcast appearance?
Had to dip out a little early to put a face on. So everyone else in my team's meeting saw me barefaced with a top knot, but you have a brushed hair and a face on.
Thank you.
So you're welcome.
And also on the episode this week is my loving wife, the assistant editorial producer of this podcast, also named Amanda. Amanda, how are you doing downstairs?
I'm doing great. Been a busy day. Back to work tomorrow. So I had like freebie day today. So got a lot done around the house and excited to assemble this new dining table over to my right very soon. It's a good day.
Minutes from now. So I'm going to do my best to not confuse everybody. So for those listening, there will be a use of the term Amanda Classic for my sister, and either probably New Manda for my wife. So Amanda Classic, please tell me your connection and exposure to the White Stripes and how they came into your day-to-day life and or realm.
I personally feel like I knew about the White Stripes before you did. I am your older sister, and I feel like I knew about everything before you did.
Mm-hmm.
I distinctly remember learning about the White Stripes from a live journal account that I followed. So probably around the time that White Blood Cells came out.
Mm-hmm.
The is White Blood Cells the one with Fell in Love with a Girl?
Yes, and with the song in
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. See, I'm on it. I know what it's about. But the Gondry video was very big, and that I remember learning about them through LiveJournal and then being like, okay, this is sort of in my wheelhouse. When I was in high school, I was sort of hung out with like punk adjacent kids, and White Stripes wasn't that different, but it's a bit more, well, as you know, not that punk, but not punk. So kind of fit my vibe, I suppose.
Then, if you think that I stole them
Mhm.
or bit your style, what leads you to that accusation? Now, I will admit I have a storied history of stealing things that you liked first and making them my identity. There's several TV shows come to mind or bands, but I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't remember exactly because I would have gotten into the White Stripes with Chris, but you could have been there too, also in the same house. We shared a wall.
I just think I might have known about them before you did, but I definitely wasn't
Okay.
like a super fan like you were. And you fell into the White Stripes super fandom really quickly. So I think I was like, oh yeah, they're cool. And then you were like wallpapering the walls of your bedroom, White Stripes style. So,
Can you think of like your first memory of Ryan being into them?
it must have been after you were really into Led Zeppelin,
Yeah, I would be right. So I'd be like grade
right?
10. It was like early 2002, so you would have been in grade 12.
Yeah. So I remember, I mean, I mostly remember Ryan being really into the White Stripes rather than beginning to be interested.
Fair.
So, like, he had a band in high school where he did like most of the songs were White Stripes covers. So I remember that happening a lot. He had band practice in our townhouse's little clubhouse. Um, and I remember like walk on the bus. We would take the bus to school, and he would like put White Stripes on my various MP3 players or do we have CD players back then? We might
I'm
have.
sure I did that, but
A
Yeah.
Discman.
yeah. So
Yeah, I think we had Discmen back then.
that all checks out. New Amanda, you're relatively new on the block. You've only been here for 6.5 years. What was your first, long before I came around, what was your first thoughts or exposure or experiences with the White Stripes, and how did that change when you met me?
Well, it definitely changed when I met you because I wouldn't say I was like a non-fan. I was more indifferent to them and had, of course, come across the big hits like Seven Nation Army and We Are Gonna Be Friends. Like, I loved that song the moment that I first heard it. That's more of my scene. So kind of early White Stripes days, I would have just picked up on what was on the radio. But growing up, my parents were very supportive of our musical endeavors of any kind. So my dad was constantly scouring probably Craigslist to buy us like music instruments and have them in the basement. And I remember one day he came home with a bass guitar. And of course, the first and probably only, let's be honest, song that I learned was Seven Nation Army, which now I know would be pretty sacrilege to play it on a bass. That's like no go.
Come on,
But
what are we doing here?
I don't know. Yeah, right. So yeah, I remember. I would say like that's probably the earliest real memory that I would associate with White Stripes. That is specific would be
Okay.
learning to play it on the bass.
Well, the song we're doing this week, I think without question, it's probably my favorite White Stripes song, or at least like one I could I know all the words to, or could like, yeah, if I needed to do something where I could regurgitate it, like I can do it with Hotel Yorba. It's a funny little track. It's like barely 2 minutes. It takes on a life of its own. I sent you both like a bunch of different versions or like links to versions, and it can either be the loudest song, like the loudest, rowdiest punk song, or like the, you know, being played acoustically on the stage at the Grand Ole Opry. It's a very unique White Stripes song. We'll go into a little bit of history of this song. The song had actually been lingering around since 1997 or so. Jack White had a band with a husband and wife, Dan, and I forget his wife's name. She's actually in the Hotel Yorba video. What's her name, Amanda?
I'm just
Is it
upset that
Amanda?
he's forgetting women.
Oh, yes.
Again.
Okay, fine. Here we go. It's Tracy Miller. So Dan and Tracy and Jack were in a band called Two Star
Give
Tabernacle.
Tracy her flowers.
Yes, she is very talented. That's a very good band. That's Blanche or Blanche, depending on. It's a common thing on this show. Anyway, those three and some other people were in a band called Two Star Tabernacle that was around in late '90s. What's interesting about this band is there's a lot of White Stripes songs that were written and composed for this band. There was also a lot of songs the band Blanche kind of used for their song. So there's a few White Stripes songs that were around before the White Stripes formed, which is kind of strange to me, or at least the crossovers, you know, very early on in their tenure. Anyway, so this song was written and performed by Two Star Tabernacle, who's a bit of a goth country kind of band. Amanda Classic, they're right up your alley.
Love goth country.
Yeah. So you might want to, and I included that.
Truly
version.
do.
So that song, it's been kicking around, and it was, oddly enough, it was the first single off of White Blood Cells. So of a album that has Fell in Love with a Girl, it has We Are Gonna Be Friends, it has Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground. Oddly enough, Hotel Yorba was picked as the first single on their, once the band was picked up as a major label band, because White Blood Cells, the album, it comes out in July of 2001, but they gets re-released along with their first two albums when the band signs to their two major labels, and all bets are off after that. A little bit about the Hotel Yorba. It was built in 1926. It is a former hotel in southwest Detroit that can be seen along I-75 near the Ambassador Bridge to Canada. And the single version of this song was recorded in room 206 of the building. While they were able to record the song there, or a single version, they were not able to record the music video there, but more about that in a bit. Jack famously said, now this, like, you know, it's got a big, kind of like the Hotel York in Toronto. It's got a big
The
Royal York, sorry. It's got the big neon letters above it. And, you know, it's eye-catching. So the similar thing, the Hotel Yorba has these big giant letters on it. Very 1920s kind of thing. Jack said as a child that he heard a rumor that the Beatles had stayed there. And even though it was false, he loved it. I know for at least Amanda Classic and me, this resonates well for us because our father always tells us which hotel the Beatles stayed at in Vancouver. Amanda Classic, which one was that?
Oh, God. You're putting me on the spot.
The Biltmore.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say the Astoria.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So the Biltmore, which has also become socialized housing now, was once was the actual Beatles hotel. And
social housing.
Sorry. 0 for 2. Amanda Classic. Allegedly, this is your favorite White Stripes song too. What comes to mind when you put it on structurally as a song? What are your thoughts on it?
It allegedly it is my favorite White Stripes song. I don't think it was originally. It took me a little while to come to it just because the other one, like Fell in Love with a Girl, hit it first and was most popular. But I I'm a real big fan of Stomp Clap.
Mm-hmm.
And Hotel Yorba hits a lot of those same notes. It's so sweet. When you're getting married, you want to be on the front porch of that home, like it's sweet, but it's upbeat, and it's really fun to sing along to in the car. I love a good song that you can sing along to. You don't have to be particularly skilled at singing to sing along to Hotel Yorba, although, I mean, a lot of White Stripes songs are pretty, karaoke friendly. But yeah, it's just a good time. And I think we have a lot of songs that we grew up singing together in the car, and it's one of those ones that just hits like similar vibes. It's not a sad time song, it's a good time song.
You brought it up as a sing-along song. So one of the sentimental moments was with this song. I didn't realize how much you enjoyed it. And I found like immediately sweet because it's one of my favorite White Stripes songs as well for all the reasons you just outlined. But we took a family trip to Tennessee, and we went to Nashville collectively, us and Amanda Classic's partner and my dad, and we went to Third Man Records for my pilgrimage. We went to Graceland for my dad's pilgrimage, saw the Canucks, had a great trip. And on the way back, driving from Memphis back to Nashville, it's like a 3-hour drive, we were getting sentimental and maybe realizing that we have a lot of car sing-along songs, or maybe I didn't realize it. And we were playing like our important Schaap family sing-along songs are You're So Bad by Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever, or Squeezebox by The Who, or No Man's Land, and that by Billy Joel. And then through all this, Amanda said, "Oh, let's put on Hotel Yorba." And I was like, "Well, why? Like, why appease me? We're here to appease the whole car." And I'm like, "Oh, you love this song too." And yeah, so immediately it became that much more special because we have, similar approaches to things that are cool, and we really like what we like. And for a song like this to resonate the way it did to both of us, like immediately became special. So it is a sing-along song. It is sweet and adorable. That's fine. Amanda, your initial thoughts on Hotel Yorba, the song.
Yeah, I was trying to think back to when I first would have heard it, because I am certain that it would have been with you the first time, but probably in your apartment in our early dating days. And I remember having a very kind of similar impression of it's just a fun song, and it does make you want to sing along. And I love any chorus that you feel by the end of the song, you can just give it a shot and sing along, and it really gets in your head right away, even on the first listen. And so I really like that. And I love the kind of, you can shout sing it, but it doesn't need to be, you can go as far or as short as you want with how much you commit to singing along with it. And it kind of works. And it's a very versatile song in that way. So I love the folksy sound and the folksy sort of melody. But then I also feel like the more I've been exposed to White Stripes now, I gave it a listen today and really sort of like sat and listened to it. And I really appreciated that it's a very classic Meg drumming song too, like just very kind of like clangy and on the beat. And listening to the live versions too, like she clearly drives it at like Mach 15 speed when they do it live. And so I think that was kind of a cool point of reflection for me too today, is not just listening to the song again, but how I listen to it differently since doing this show together, or being together for 6 years now, and by osmosis becoming a White Stripes fan myself.
One of my more memorable experiences with this song with new Amanda is I dragged her along to see Jack White at the Coliseum right after COVID about 3 years ago. And I'll be the first to admit I've seen some of the absolute best Jack White performances. And I've also seen some of the more subpar ones. And this one was not very good. He tends to get really salty when crowds aren't as lively as they could be. And I think the COVID scare was still there. So he started playing Hotel Yorba, and I'm like, great. My loving girlfriend at the time and I are front row. I've waited with my vault package early entry for God knows how many hours. He's going to play Hotel Yorba, which is one of my favorite songs. And he goes into the first chorus, and then I guess like the crowd didn't sing along or was not as passionate as he had hoped. And he stopped playing it. He took off his acoustic guitar and he's like, "Oh, I know what you guys just want to hear." And he just assumed that we were not into quieter songs, even though there's something quiet about Hotel Yorba, and then started playing something loud with long-winded solos. And that's one of my fond or less than fond memories of this song with my wife, with one of the Amandas. Also, I will say...
but I also need to say, though, about that concert was that I really got to see I got to see a different side of him that day. Like, I felt like I met teenage childhood Ryan in his excitement when we were walking into the Coliseum, because you had the vault package early entry thing, and it was general admission. And so, first, also correction, I was not dragged to that show. I was actually very excited for it. And that was the first time I had seen Jack White.
Amanda Classic. I had to play her a sampler to let her know what she was getting into. She knew some things, not a lot, I would say at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
But it was any hesitation was more about being like front of a general admission, like mosh pit situation. Nightmare.
Catching COVID.
For you, yeah. I mean, even at the best of times. But for you and for the Jack White experience, of course, I'm in. But I remember, so they brought us into the venue, and then we had to wait until they sort of like released the hounds, and everyone who was there for the early entry got to go in. And so we were, of course, front of that line, and they were very clear about no running. Because they didn't want it to be pandemonium. But there wasn't, I don't know, there's maybe like a couple dozen people. And so as soon as they say you can go, I think Ryan would have won an Olympic medal in speed walking, and rule follower to a T, both feet on the ground at one time. I have, like, if I could paint you a picture. Like, it is a mental image so clearly in my mind of Ryan just like scuttling up to the stage and getting his first place and
camping
walking
out.
Pace.
This is my spot.
Behind him. Yeah, and it just I really even oops, sorry, hit my mic. Yeah, it really is like sparkles in my heart and memories when I think about how excited he was, and it was a really fun time.
Well, Amanda Classic, you mentioned you love Stomp Clap. So when looking at the lyrics to Hotel Yorba, what's the picture? What's the story that Jack White's trying to paint or trying to tell? What kind of stands out to you when you look at these lyrics on paper or listening to them?
So I need you to know that reading the lyric sheet that you gave us, I realized that I did not hear the lyrics correctly, and I thought that it was I've got 15 people telling me don't move, and I've got moving on my mind, not to move.
I also thought the same thing.
Right? And then when I listened to different versions of it, I'm like, oh, I can clearly hear it, but in like the studio version, I swear he's saying don't move. And because of that, you're so antsy that you have to move because everyone's telling you not to, and you're like oppositional defiance disorder about it. So that really shook me last night when I was reading the lyrics. I'm like, oh no, the rest of the lyrics, though, I do have correct in my mind, but that one really shook me a little bit.
It's funny you bring that.
Pretty big change.
Yeah.
I had a similar moment, like where I thought for 24 years or what have you, that he was singing about how Jack White was singing about how much he loves South Austin. And that this home would be in the south part of Austin, Texas. And I thought the lyrics was, I got moving on my mind. I found shelter in South Austin, turning wheels around. The lyrics are, in some thoughts, turning wheels around. And I literally today went, oh, I've been listening to this very wrong. So you're not alone with that.
Yeah. So he found shelter in the thoughts that he was thinking about. yeah, completely different
Way better.
songs.
Way better.
Yeah.
Jack's got the better lyrical pen than I do on that one. Newman, your thoughts on this song and the story they're trying to tell?
Yeah, I was definitely like looking back at that lyrics sheet too and thinking, okay, well, like what is the story and where does the hotel actually come into it? And it's something that I kind of struggle with sometimes with White Stripes. Like I am very lyrics driven.
Yeah.
And I love a good song that just sounds good for the sake of sounding good, but my brain like can't quite comprehend that. Like how would somebody write something that doesn't really make sense? So I think clearly though, like the song being about a guy who's feeling pressure to change things up, and then like whether that's moving on maybe from a relationship or moving like literally moving out of to South Austin.
Maybe he's living in the hotel. Maybe he's living in the Hotel Yorba.
Exactly. Or
they'll be glad to
through,
see you
I don't
later.
know. Yeah, he's feeling pressure to move on in some way, shape, or form. And he takes stock of where he's actually at and then says, like, wait, fuck that. I'm actually very happy where I am. And then at the same time, it also sort of follows the progression of this relationship. So I couldn't quite tie the hotel in. I was interested to know if either of you had really figured that out.
I think it's just easy. I think it's just a fun thing to say, and it's like, hey, let's write a song about that. And I mean, it could be about a Hotel Yorba, or it's just fun to say. But it's Exhibit A right here. We're talking about this individual that's trying to figure out what to do with their life and has that moment of self-realization. So who cares what the verses are, because they don't, or sorry, what the choruses are, because it doesn't really connect, but it doesn't really need to, because it's romanticized this dumpy shitty hotel next to the interstate, and you maybe think that it's where the honeymoon was or where the wedding was, and you just kind of, or the reception, because they got married in a church, but you think it just like ties in and it becomes a part of this story of love and self-reflection and finding your place in life.
I think that Hotel Yorba, if you're singing to locals, if it was an important landmark, I don't know if it's still there, but if you're singing to people in your neighborhood, which is what they were doing with their first band, most likely, it's not a meaningless syllable set. It's actually like down the street, and maybe I don't know the neighborhood that it's in. It might be pretty urban. I mean, if it's in like outskirts of Detroit or maybe more inner city, but contrasting that with a house down by the lake with a dirty old road leading up to it, right? Like it might be a complete opposite from Hotel Yorba. Maybe Hotel Yorba is the exit where you have to take to get home, and that's like
and you make a great point about like this local landmark that people kind of not necessarily jump to their own conclusions about, but kind of it's easy to connect to. Like there's that weird hotel on Kingsway with all the little like cabins that's somehow in the middle of downtown, like Vancouver proper. It's just called the 2400 Motel or Hotel. A lot of shows get shot there, and like I could see if a local band wrote a song about finding love at the 2400, I'd know immediately. Not necessarily what the song's about, like, oh, I can connect to that. So yeah, it's on the nose, Amanda. Classic. New Amanda, any thoughts on any additional thoughts on these lyrics or just the sound of the song? Because I wanted to say this, like it's. It falls between Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground and Offended in Every Way and Fell in Love with a Girl. So like some of your louder, more bombastic White Stripes songs. And then you have this song, which is acoustic guitar for the most part. It feels loud and big, but it's still pretty quiet at the end of the day. And then you also think that this song has been in their little universe for, at this time, like 4 years, 3-4 years. Why do you think that they were so hesitant to, why did it take until White Blood Cells? Why did it take until their third album to record this song together?
I don't know. I was struck listening to the Two Star Tabernacle, was that the name, version of it, that it, like, Jack sings it almost exactly the same. Like, vocally very similar, hadn't changed any of the lyrics, but even just listening to how that drummer played, and there's more drum fills, or there's a little more like pizzazz, or it doesn't come in right away. Like, it's a little more conventional, the drumming.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great example of what Meg really brings to the overall sound of the band, is like the song didn't change that much, but like the way that she plays and that sort of like crash bang boom style
clap,
of
boom,
drumming.
clap, boom, clap. Yeah.
Exactly. And coming in like right off the top with the drums as well, and not like zhuzhing it up or doing much fancy. It really is the engine of the song, the way that she plays.
Yeah.
And so I think listening to both of those versions, I found that quite striking. But I don't know why it would have taken a while for them to.
I agree with your sentiments that it is a bit of a laid back kind of silly song, and it doesn't take away from the cuteness or how the quality of the song, but it's kind of laid back and goofy. And Mike Noble did our Christmas episode for Candy Cane Children, and he brought up a very good point that, like, you know, when you're in like a serious type of band or you want to be taken serious, there's like musicians kind of really have that take me serious energy, at least to start, before they get comfortable. And looking at how long Hotel Yorba had been around, or at least that Jack had it kind of in his brain kicking around, I kind of think that they needed to get to a level of like comfort or success or notoriety, or you know, on a level of establishedness where they can have the goofy silly song, because, you know, they have them on Elephant with It's True That We Love One Another, or on some of their singles or their B-sides are kind of silly. They're not, you know, goof off songs, but there's a comfort level to kind of show another side of your sense of humor or your personality.
What album is Big Three Killed My Baby from?
That's off their first album.
Okay. Because that song to me is like White Stripes trying to prove something.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, also like Big Three automakers, you're from Detroit,
Yeah.
like White Stripes. Whereas I do agree, like Hotel Yorba, We're Gonna Be Friends, these songs are just, maybe, yeah, you feel like you have the street cred, you've proved yourself, you've done the work, and now you can have fun. I also watched a bunch of the videos that you sent, and Jack White seems to be having fun pretty much every time he plays it. Apparently not at the concert you guys went to, but and most of the videos I've seen him playing, he generally seems to enjoy it. And it's just, it's probably just a way to like cleanse your palate, right? Like it's a bit of the shock to the system after some dark and heavy themes. And yeah, just a fun way to get the crowd going if you are going to play it live, which I think you said he plays it. It's one of the songs he plays the most live.
Yeah.
It makes sense to have a song in there that, you know, you can use to shift the vibe, or you can rile up the crowd if things aren't really going the way you want. So.
And it's exactly right. And you're exactly right. Like that is Hotel Yorba is a staple. Like it is the staple of staples. Like we need to play something that is going to bring up the mood and put a smile on people's faces and get the energy up. And like it's such a beloved song that it will seemingly always deliver, except for the show that Numanda and I went to.
Bad vibes.
Can we talk about what a banger lyric "All They Got Inside Is Vacancy" is? Because I remember hearing that for the first time too. I mean, like, oh, I like that. I like tricky little lyrics like that are very simple.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it immediately makes you think, and then you go, oh, that place is a dump. Like, come on in. We are overstocked on empty rooms. We got anything
there is
you need
room.
Yeah, it's very like visual,
the
but also like the emotional kind of temperature of the song too. I love that lyric.
Yeah. I just lost my page. We bought the White Stripes complete lyrics for this podcast.
It's important.
Well, it is. And then if you listen to one of the last episodes, I really wish I opened this book for the Union Forever episode. But they have the working lyrics for Hotel Yorba in here, and it's pretty similar. The only real difference is, so like the end of the song is so great. It's just like, and it's a 4, 5, 6, 7. Grab your umbrella, grab a hold of me, because I'm your favorite fella. All they got inside is vacancy. So badass line. What I think is the original working versions of the end of the song is, well, it looks like rain. Better grab your umbrella. Try to do your best to fill this vacancy. I don't know what that is, but well, it's written. 3 walls in open air. You're forcing me to stare at the floor and out the door in the drawer. Don't get that. Well, the earth is dirty. Everyone looks the other way. Sometimes I think there's too much to do and a whole lot less to say. Then I start thinking. So I don't know where they were going with that, but they got the right one for the final version.
Strong editing pen.
Twist too. Like it seems like to take the song in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everything sucks and everything's dirty, and do the best you can because like nothing's easy.
Let's move on to the next segment of the show. The song's Legacy, and it's a segment we call Little Room, Big Impact. This is on a Darling album. Pitchfork loved the album. They gave it a 9 out of 10. And they said this on the country hootenanny Hotel Yorba. The stripes reflect the grit of early railroad jerk, a glee-filled boogie. What's so funny?
Sorry, Amanda.
It's because you said country.
Country.
On the
I can tell that she picked up on it too.
Yeah, I mouthed the country at you.
On the country hootenanny Hotel Yorba, the stripes reflect the grit of early railroad jerk, a glee-filled boogie with Jack's voice breaking and whooping, almost on the verge of a yodel. Also, according to the audio commentary of the extended pilot episode of Arrested Development, this song was to be heard when the Funke's were leaving their Beverly Hills hotel without paying their bill, but it was decided it would be too costly to obtain permission. Think about that. This song is loved. It's beloved. It's a huge staple of the White Stripes. You can find it anywhere. It's on White Blood Cells. It's on their greatest hits. It was on seemingly every live DVD they did, under Great White Northern Lights, under Blackpool Lights, under Nova Scotian Lights, and it was even on the John Peel sessions, which Amanda Classic bought me for Christmas. And
Did I?
And it's been on countless vault releases. So if new Amanda went to the White Stripe section of the records over there, you'd probably find like 7 pieces of vinyl with it on it. Legacy. I think that's about it for that. Let's talk about. We haven't done this in like a gajillion episodes, but there is a actual music video for this song. Get behind the camera, Satan. Let's talk about the music video. This music video was directed by Dan John Miller, who is the one of the primary songwriters and performers in Two Star Tabernacle, and his wife is actress and model Tracy May Miller, who appears in it as the woman that Jack marries, and Meg's there too as the third or fourth wheel. This is their first music video they did, their first proper. I believe Meg went on record to say that that when they made Hotel Yorba, we didn't think that it would get played or anything like that. She loves the video. What we were doing at the time was like really low budget, and the director did a very good job for that. So, let's go with Amanda Classic. Your thoughts on the Hotel Yorba music video? How does it paint the picture of the song that the White Stripes are performing?
I think it really fits because it is like Hotel Yorba sounds like a song that you're playing in your garage or with a guitar and a drum, like you're having a fun time. And the video is, because it's so low budget and fuzzy, and it has a similar vibe. it fits really well. I think if they tried to make it happen like that, it would appear quite contrived, but because
Yeah.
it was low budget, it feels authentic. And I think authenticity is pretty much like probably one of the White Stripes like most key attributes. But
Absolutely.
I think that it fits, and you can tell like they're both so young. Meg looks like she's like 19 years old. And like I mean, I've seen a lot of Jack White recently. The White Stripes were just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I mean, we've all aged, but I was like, man, they were babies back then. Um, and I thought, can you confirm, were they divorced at this point?
Yeah, they were.
Okay. I thought the scene at the end where Meg is tied to Jack as he's getting married was quite something. I was like, wow, you. And then like they were still actively promoting the fact that they were brother and sister. So in that case, he's like, we're a package deal. She has to come with me. But like knowing that they're divorced, it's like it's probably hit a little different when they're recording it. Yeah, I really enjoyed Meg's dress, although it did look like she had like little heart nipples on her dress, which I thought was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I also noticed that, and that's I mean, I noticed that 20 years ago, and that's my.
You
first
probably noticed it quite a bit 20 years ago. And I also I'd never noticed the rat that she was playing with in the bed.
Yeah.
Right? There were two kind of plot twists in the music video. One was like a minute in when you see that Meg's actually tied to Jack when they're like walking through the forest.
Yeah.
And that I remember being like, oh. But then also the rat, it just comes and goes. I don't know. Is there significance to that rat?
There is a song on the White Blood Cells called "I Think I Smell a Rat."
Yeah.
So that could be that. I also, for a long time, I thought it was a taxidermy rat, which is Jack's kind of weirdest quirk, is that he's a big fan of taxidermy. But watching it this week, I'm like, oh, that's alive. So okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's like running
interesting.
over her hands and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I haven't watched in a long time. Like, it was one of those things that you're just exposed to so much that like it's like hearing a song on the radio 1,000 times. You don't really stop and look at it. And so watching it this week, it's one, yeah, they're really young. It looks it looks like the video cost like $30 to make, but it tells the story. Like, you know, for a song that's as short as this song, it's got almost like the most lyrics of a White Stripes song. Like, there is so much said in 2 minutes that like it tells a very long, detailed story of self-reflection and realization and love and all that stuff. So like, it does a really good job telling that in seemingly 3 scenes. They're in a hotel room. They're in at a church where that's the church where Jack was actually an altar boy. And then it was also like they're outside the Hotel Yorba. So I think I absolutely nailed it. And it shows their personality, it shows the quirks of the band. And for their first music video, it kind of presents what you're going to get with them. A very specific, curated look and aesthetic, and then a bunch of weird stuff like the rats and the tethering. So I think it ruled.
do most White Stripes songs not tell a story? Because I'm trying to think of like most White Stripes songs are pretty like lyrically strong and like sort of like almost like a puzzle, but they're not necessarily like a ballad. Like they don't tell like an arc.
No, they're
the arc storyline is rare.
Yeah, and I would agree. But like, I would say like Jack White, because he wrote the lyrics, like his songs would they not entirely tell a story, a beginning to end ballad. Like they're kind of a feeling or a slice of a very specific situation, or just like, hey, this sounds kind of cool. So it is a unique song, but I don't really think of it as the lyric driven, thoughtful, like a lyrically heavy song, because it's just so fast. You kind of know all the words very quickly, and it doesn't hit you that like there's a lot being said in this. and it does stand out like that. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say about this is they tried to shoot the video at the Hotel Yorba. They were not allowed inside. They technically
Did they have a permit?
no, but it
They're
wasn't
punk,
like
Amanda. They don't have a permit.
Oh, sorry, I'm a rule follower and a producer. Those are my. I gotta ask the real questions.
well, I don't think a permit would have worked in their favor. They wouldn't let us in, said Jack White. They thought we were from the IRS or something. It's a really seedy hotel, so I guess we looked a little too respectable to get a room there. The funniest thing was we were sitting out in the van saying, man, we can't get in. I can't believe this. And just then NPR did a review of our new album saying, here's the new song, Hotel Yorba. They started playing it and we just sat there laughing. So they couldn't shoot the video. They were able to record the song there, but they weren't able to record the video because of its seediness. But lucky for them, it's Detroit, and I'm sure they found a just as desirable hotel down the block or around the corner that said come on in, and it all worked out in their favor.
And it really adds to the lore.
Absolutely, yeah. We've written it like if they were smart, they would have like, well, we need to turn this into a White Stripes themed destination. Instead, they're like, you're banned and all of your fans are banned. Don't even come here. We're closing our doors immediately.
Yeah, it could have been like the Graceland equivalent.
Exactly. They really shot themselves in the foot. But you alluded to the live performance. Its live performance history. This is the second most performed White Stripes song of all time, 372 times according to setlist.fm. But I'm filing some grievances with Setlist. I found some anomalies and some inaccuracies.
Really?
Bullshit.
Scandal.
I thought there's one for the Greek theater where they say that they played Wichita Lineman, which is that song by Glenn Campbell I kept playing in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I have to find this. So I go and find the bootleg. And during Seven Nation Army, where Jack, in the lyric where Jack sings about, I'm going to Wichita, he basically like half-ass says two lines about he's a Wichita lineman or something. And I'm like, that is bullshit. They did not cover this song. They threw in a lyric. I'm going to sue
referenced it.
I'm going to sue Setlist.fm and I'm going to win. Anyway.
Maybe you should start your own Setlist FM too and try and compete with them.
.fm.ca.
Yeah.
This song was first performed at the Auto Bar in Baltimore, Maryland on February 17th, 2001. If you are listening to this and you said, didn't you just talk about the Auto Bar? That's correct. On the Union Forever episode with DC area musician Gigi Marie, we talked about the Union Forever. It's because they debuted Hotel Yorba, the Union Forever, and Fell in Love with a Girl all at this show in February, and those would all appear on the album in July. And it was last performed at their last show ever in South Haven, Missouri, Mississippi. MS, Amanda?
Mississippi.
I think it's Mississippi, yeah. Missouri is
Michigan. What's Missouri now?
Missouri
M-O.
Yeah, that's right. So they played their last show, and that was right near Memphis. And they played it. They played at their last show. Now, as a solo artist, Jack White, as my sister has said through Lowe's performances, he absolutely loves playing the song live. He's played it 380 times live as a solo artist, which is the second most all time as a solo artist. The first
380 and 1/3.
Yes,
the 1/3 being Pacific Coliseum. Thank you.
I'm gonna bring it when he comes on this show. I will be bringing that up and saying I'm still pissed off at you for that.
He owes you a Yorba.
I said, play it right now, pal. He first performed this song. There was a time in 1999, which I need to learn more about that year because that's a year that they split up. No, like Jack and Meg, they split up in 99. and there was this like big decision about how whether to carry on or keep the band going. And I don't know enough about it. I just purchased a book to read and study. I need to know these things. But when Meg was getting her tonsils out, Jack White played a couple of gigs around Detroit with a band called it the Bricks, and they played Hotel Yorba back in '99 as a solo artist. But he's seemingly performed this song constantly as a solo artist post White Stripes. His first solo gig ever was at Third Man Records in the Blue Room, March 8, 2012. He played Hotel Yorba. The last live gig he played was in September. He played Hotel Yorba. When we saw him at the Commodore, he played Hotel Yorba. The song is outstanding, and it's exactly like my Amanda Classic said. It's just a vibe setter. It's an easy one to pull out of the repertoire and be like, I know what's going to get him going, and the song rules. Are
there any other songs that have transcended to 3 of Jack's musical endeavors?
Well, it's funny. The Union Forever was also a 2-Star Tabernacle song, and he's performing that one post White Stripes. My sister mentioned The Big Three Killed My Baby. That was also a 2-Star Tabernacle song, as a dare to write a protest song. But I would say there's a handful, and a lot of those songs, I feel like the songs that have lasted the test of time were songs that were written before that Take Us Seriously early White Stripes phase. It's like, Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground, which is arguably the best song Jack White's ever done, was written in like 97 or whatever, and he didn't make it on an album until 2001. So whatever songs that are sticking with us, like he kind of had to get over the Take Us Seriously, we're cool and serious before they came to light, or whatever, however you want to frame that. Now, finally, the most important part of this song's legacy is, and this podcast is all about me. I am the main character of this podcast. That was a gift from my sister for Christmas. So I've always loved this song. It's been outstanding, and just like it's a heartwarming song in the feels for me. And Amanda and I got married last June, and when it came time we wrote our own vows, and I had just free-form jazzed it, and I thought I did a really good job. It was all from the heart and honest, and I needed some big finale. What's that? A credenzo? What's the word I'm looking for? Crescendo. And I was like, I didn't want to just what's something about me that like tells that story, but also I have that connection with. And I was like thinking over things that I really liked, and then I'm like, oh well, like what about the White Stripes? Are there any? I don't know. It's like, is there like a more sentimental ballad that I could take from? And then I'm like, no, not really. And then I just like thought of Hotel Yorba's like Let's Get Married in a Big Cathedral by a Priest. And I'm like, well, like it just came too easy. Like it made too much sense too fast. And I'm like, it almost felt lazy. So I'm like, fuck, I guess I got to do that. So the wedding was on a Saturday. On the Friday, we got married by an officiant during our wedding rehearsal in the backyard of what?
Legal married.
Legal married. We did a performative thing the next night, but we just had like our wedding playlist playing during, in the background. And so we do our very primitive ceremony, and then we go over and sign all the stuff. And Hotel Yorba starts playing, which was really sweet. And at the time, Amanda didn't know what my vows were. But, she always...
we saved our vows for our actual wedding, air quotes, if you're just listening, that our legal marriage was at the rehearsal. Then we were like, we'll keep this as stripped down as possible, save all the feels for the next day.
And so we're signing our stuff with the legal officiant from the designated by the province, and our witnesses are there, and we're signing. And she's like, and we goes, okay, you're married. And then she goes, oh no, she didn't even say you're married. Just the White Stripes are playing, and the officiant goes, okay, Jack White says you're married, because that part of the song was playing right when we signed it. And then the next day, as new Amanda went first in her vows and like destroyed it, like absolutely killed, and did it by design, because then I was just a blubbering puddle, and it took me an hour and a half to get my words out. But the last thing I said was the easiest thing to say, because it's burned into the back of my mind. And let's get married in a big cathedral by a priest, because if I'm the man that you love the most, you can say I do at least. And I was never been happier to say that purposefully. And so that had been around for so long, and you kind of romanticize it. And I'm just incredibly lucky and think about it every day, that how lucky I was that I got to say that at that moment and connect all of these things that I hold so dearly to me.
Oh, that's really special. I think I recall when, like, thinking back to one of the first questions that you asked today of like, what's the first memory that you have of listening to this, and thinking it's probably in your apartment. And like, I do remember that being like sort of a through line of our relationship, that every time this song would come on, like it was always sort of running in the back of my mind of like, I bet you we're going to play this song at our wedding. Like, not thinking it's going to be in our vows or anything, obviously, but even like early on, I would definitely have those little moments of like, oh, well, isn't that a fun little daydream to have of, we'll play this song at our wedding? And sure enough.
And I had it in my mind for, the secret song set aside for Jack, like those, we have those ones, but then I also thought of like, well, who could I do for Hotel Yorba? And then thinking of the important connection that I have with the song, and that Amanda has with the song, and this Amanda has with the song, I was like, okay, the Amandas will do the Hotel Yorba episode. So that was decided very early on. So this has been great to dissect and discuss this song. We've spent an hour talking about it. You probably didn't
but
think...
I feel like you've glossed over the fact that we were legally pronounced married by someone saying, Jack White says you're married.
And if you can sign your name right there, please.
Hey,
look at Jack.
Are we looking at him?
Yeah. Okay, Jack White says you're married.
Hey, good to hear.
Excellent, congratulations.
Also, sorry, was that not intentional?
No.
And I didn't even notice
because Brian was playing the music at your rehearsal. I thought that was on purpose.
You probably just put it on the playlist.
Yeah. I broke down during that part because I was like, oh my god, Hotel Yorba, they're getting married.
And it was like, it was the most perfectly timed thing. Like, you could not have produced it better to happen exactly when it did, because we're like signing the paper as it's like, let's get married. And then I don't know, you should add the video to this.
Yeah, I will.
I discovered that a couple months ago, that I was like, hang on. She actually, the first time she ever says for reals that we are married, she says, Jack White says you're married.
Yeah. So the more the thinking about that now and the project we're doing and our goals here, that just makes that whole thing so much more special. And much like everything the White Stripes did, it was not choreographed or, drawn out ahead of time. Shit just happened.
Too. Yeah. Like, she's a provincial officiant, so we'd met her for like one phone call and 3 minutes before to say,
and I didn't like her. She was really annoying. She kept trying to sell us on a full wedding ceremony, and I'm like, can you just do the bare minimum? We got Josh, 2-time guest on this show, performing the ceremony. I don't care. Like, this doesn't mean anything. And I was like, it was like we had to sell her on the ceremony. I'm like, just can you do what we say,
like,
please?
what's the legal minimum that you can say?
Yeah.
And that this random woman clocked that it was Hotel Yorba and Jack White is the lead singer of the White Stripes.
Yeah.
So.
And so like she had no idea about Ryan's super
Being
fandom.
a freak.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild when I think about it.
Yeah.
And I love that video and that moment so much.
Yeah. As we wrap up here, one more thing I want to say. For Amanda Classic's 40th birthday, we did a paint and sip on the hottest day of the year ever in a room with no air conditioning. And I did a red elephant, and I'm really happy about it. And that sits on my desk here. Another White Stripes connection with our family. Amanda, Amanda Classic, before I ask you this, I do want to let you know that you are the only member of our family that I've not taken to see the White Stripes or a Jack White perform. Dad took us to see them at the Plaza. Hang on, at the Plaza Nations. Mom came with me to see him on the Blunderbuss tour when seemingly everybody I'd ever met in my life was at Sasquatch, where he'd performed the night before, or working a telethon. And then Amanda, new Amanda, has now seen him twice, but I think very consistently about how I need to take you to a Jack White show with me so that we could all have all in the family. So I want you to know that I do think about that. But to not be too sentimental and immediately carry on the conversation, the next time you listen to Hotel Yorba, after talking about it for an hour, what are you going to hear differently? What's going to go through your mind? How are you going to react to this song the next time you hear it?
I mean, it's always been quite sentimental to me. I know we talked about how it's silly, but I've always thought the lyrics were pretty sweet and thoughtful. But no, I'll think about our lovely connection here, how we're family besties now because we've done this experience together podcast wise. We were already family besties. There's only the two of us and then your cool wife. So
yeah, I love it. And cool wife, the next time you listen to Hotel Yorba, what's going to resonate with you? What is going to go through your mind?
I think, I don't know, I just continue to be blown away by that. All the things that had to fall into place exactly as they were to have that moment at our wedding. And it's lovely as this conversation has been here today. I don't think anything could ever come to mind before that moment for me. So I always do that fondly, of course.
The next time I listen to this song, I will think that it's very sad that the lovely community of South Austin is not represented, and Jack has done them dirty by getting me to actually read the artwork that he has produced and the lyrics that he has penned. So my heart is with the people of South Austin, where wheels go round and round. But I will listen to this song with a big smile on my face, as I always have. Okay, that was the Amandas, and that was Ryan. Ryan and Amandas, plural. That was a special episode. You know, I think at the end of the day, as much as I love the White Stripes, this show is a rather personal show about me and my connection with the band and my experiences, and they helped really tell that story. So we'll leave it there. We'll be back next week, and coming very soon, a Patreon for this podcast. And a couple items will be released out the gate, and we're going to hit the ground running with that. And I hope you support this show. Keep those pesky ads away, because I love doing this show, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to rock it till the wheels fall off. Because the hardest podcast to podcast is hosted and produced by me, Ryan Schaap. Artwork by Catlin Likely. Amanda Schultz is our guest this week and our assistant editorial producer. And Mike Noble, he is our Gato.